please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Ms. Trueblood will be absent this evening. Mr. Allen?
Present.
Mr. Gardner?
Present.
Ms. Jackson?
Present.
Mr. Cartier?
Present. This meeting is called to order. There is no closed session this evening. We're supposed to have a presentation. Mr. Gonzalez, anything from Hardenberg?
No, I believe the presentation, I thought it was for October 4th. But in any event, they're not here, so.
Okay.
I believe it was intended to be October 4th. But I'll check it anyway, I'll let you know.
Okay. Public comment. Anyone wishing to make comments before this council, please come forward, state your name, print your name, and make your comments. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Arlene Tracy. I've been a member of this community for over 51 years. Obviously, we've grown and things have changed through the years, but my biggest concern is the drug use in this town and the drug sales in this town and what is being done about it. I don't seem to see anything being... It's an epidemic in all cities, in all towns. I realize that. From what I gather, we're very short-staffed on our police force, but it certainly is... It's certainly an issue that definitely needs to be addressed. It's just so out in the open and so bad. I mean, I have had a filter in my home with a child, and I personally don't know what I can do about it or if any of us can do about it, and it's unfortunate that there aren't more people in the community here to address these kind of issues, but I was just wondering if anything's being done or if anything can be done to, get it going. My next part of that was I was told rumors that where they tore down the buildings by Sun Market, that they were supposed to bring the state troopers in, and that was supposed to be part of the solution of the drug epidemic in this town. I don't know if that's true, probably not, but it's a major concern, not just for myself, but quite a few parents and people in this community, and I'd like to see that addressed in our community.
Okay, I can address the second part, rumors are rumors.
It is rumors, yeah. Well, it's unfortunate because we certainly could use the help. I think a lot of towns that are in that same position we are. But I'm sure I would hope that everybody in this room agrees that there's a bad epidemic with the drugs. It's out in the open. It's impossible not to see, even as a person that's not involved with them. So what can we do? Is there anything being done? And is that a big concern of our community? It certainly is with the people I've spoken to. That's all I have to say about the issue, and I'd love to see something at least start up being done.
Thank you.
I've never been here before, so...
Thank you.
That's what I brought up to the table.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we close this portion of the meeting to the public. Consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the Township Council will be enacted by one motion. Should a council member wish to discuss a consent agenda item separately, that item can be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the regular agenda. Council, anything concerning this consent agenda?
I would like to pull the regular meeting minutes for September 6th.
Anyone else? Is there a motion on the consent agenda as amended?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
Poll the council, please.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Cartier?
Yes. Regular meeting minutes from September 6, 2017. Mr. Allen pulled them because obviously he was not here last meeting. So is there a motion on the regular meeting minutes?
I'll make the motion on a regular meeting minute.
Is there a second?
A second.
Poll the council, please.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Abstain.
Mr. Cartier?
Yes. Ordinance number 24, 2017, an ordinance of the Township of Pemberton amending Chapter 110 of the Township Code entitled Flood Damage Prevention. Where'd this come from? Would you like to address this, Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, the amendments that have been provided to council in this ordinance reflect the changes that have been required by the New Jersey DEP and FEMA, and I believe the specific provisions were shaded or in green if it was in color. But these are all required changes to our existing ordinance.
Council, any discussion?
Nope.
No.
Questions were answered.
October.
I believe so. Dennis, this doesn't require extended publication, does it? Doesn't.
No, normal course.
Is there a motion on ordinance number 24, 2017 to introduce with public hearing to be on October 4th?
I make the motion, public hearing October 4th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Poll the council.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Allen? Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Cordier?
Yes. Excuse me. Moving down. New business, police purchase of 15 extra extreme software licenses from CDW-G in a total amount of $2,840.85. Is there a motion on this purchase?
I'll make the motion, Council President.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Poll the council, please.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Sure.
I'll abstain. Yes. Oh, yeah, I'll abstain. Sorry.
Mr. Cordier?
Yes. Discussion of subcommittee of council for the creation of community watches.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Mr. Gardner, I believe this came from you?
Yeah.
Creation of community watches specifically. Do you want to talk to this a little bit?
Just see if we can get together, groups of residents in different areas and form like a block committee with like a block captain, with the guidance of the mayor and the police department. So I think this town could probably use something like that because a lot of people, they don't want to come outside because they're afraid. And I believe if the neighbors start coming outside, things could probably, slow down a little bit. But it's got to start with people getting together and, just even walking the streets, walking the block at nights and, trying to prevent whatever's going on out there. So I would like to see something like that.
You're talking about for all areas, or this came from the Sunbury, when the people were here from Sunbury?
Well, that kind of triggered it, but for all areas, not just Sunbury, because everything happens everywhere. And we can't just concentrate on Sunbury alone because it's not the only part of the community.
And who else would you want on the committee besides us and them? Are you talking about residents?
Oh yeah, residents be a part of it because the residents that live in that area, they know the area, they know the people in that area. So it's not going to be, it's going to be different subcommittee. Basically, let's have one main group, and then maybe Sunbury has one, TNM have one, Presidential Lakes have one. But get together and discuss what are some of the possibilities. Like I said, with the guidance of the mayor and the police, because they know all the legalities of what to do and what not to do.
Do you have any of your thoughts in writing or written down so maybe we could see what the plan is?
Not yet. I can't. Ms. Shakir, I'd like to meet with her because she has some great ideas, and then hopefully at the next meeting I can have something. If I meet her and talk with her.
Would you like to be a part of this subcommittee?
Definitely.
Any other member of council?
It'd be interesting to hear.
All right, Ms. Jackson and Mr. Gardner. Okay, so you two decide how you want to run it.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Council's review of responses to NJDCA 2017 Best Practices Questionnaire. Let me find it. Mr. Gonzalez. Sorry, I know I keep putting you on the spot, but I know you answered these questions. So.
Yes.
Would you like to address it?
The best practices, the Division of Local Government Services of the Department of Community Affairs puts out a best practices questionnaire annually. They do change from year to year. Several years ago, if you recall, there were like 50 or 60 questions. And what they do is that they establish a scorecard based on the number of yes and no's or not applicables to the questions, and they tie the score that a municipality gets to the amount, to the percentage of the typical state aid through the old contra that the township would get. This year's best practices consists of 25 questions, of which we were able to answer yes to 21. 21 yes answers will not deprive us of any funds that we would normally be entitled to from the state. Very frankly, I'm not sure that there are too many communities in the state of New Jersey that could answer more than 21, because some of the questions, I can tell you just by the nature of the questions, are like, have you eliminated longevity from every union contract? Well, I'm not sure anybody could answer yes to that in the state of New Jersey. So we just barely made the cutoff for 100% of the state aid, and I just can't wait for next year's version.
What does the color codes on the side represent?
The color coding is in the document. I believe one of them is a yes. I think one of them is a yes and one of them is a no, or they group them into different types of categories for their own use. The scores are calculated automatically in the software.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't go down far enough. I found it. Council, any discussion concerning the questionnaire?
Just a quick question. Dennis, of the 4 no's, are there any of those that we're looking to change from no to yes in the future?
I am negotiating with most of the unions, so we'll give it a shot. There essentially is one no that I guarantee, well, I shouldn't guarantee you, that I have been guaranteed will be a yes next year, and that is the audit. The question is the audit done and forwarded by, I think, June 30th? And this year the auditor went past the date through no fault of ours. To be honest with you, it had to do with his own business reasons. I've spoken to him and told him that if he is the auditor next year, that we expect to be able to answer yes to that question. That's the one that we could change. The rest is basically are more difficult because of the nature of the questions and the fact that they involve union negotiations and removal of benefits from union contracts.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else?
No.
Okay, moving on. We don't need to accept that, do we?
No, we just have to have review it.
Reports and communication. Any discussion on the engineer's report? You're right. That's because I'm looking at an old agenda. Sorry, going backwards, I missed it. Parade permit. Iva Clemick for First Baptist Church block party at 198 and 200 Kinsley Road from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on September 30th, 2017. You all remember, except for Mr. Allen, obviously, this was on last month's agenda. We did vote to our last meeting's agenda. We did vote to approve that. It was supposed to happen this past the 16th. For some unknown reason, it didn't happen. They didn't communicate that to the township that it wasn't going to happen. And they came in Monday asking to reschedule it to the 30th. This portion of the meeting is now open to the public for discussion of the parade permit application. Anyone wishing to discuss this application, please come forward, state your name, print your name, and make your comments. Please note that any approvals that may be given on this parade permit by council is subsequent to the receipt of an amended insurance documentation. Anyone wishing to discuss this parade permit application, please come forward now. Seeing none, we close this portion of the meeting to the public. Council, any discussion on this parade permit?
No.
Just have a quick question for the solicitor. Am I able to vote as I didn't take part in the first initial?
It's a new application.
Yes, all new
It's
application.
fine?
New application. Is there a motion on this parade permit?
I'll make a motion to approve the parade permit.
Is there a second?
And I second it.
Poll the council, please.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Cartier?
Yes. Engineers report, any discussion?
Nope.
Seeing none, we'll move on. Approval by council required for payment of vouchers on bill list dated 9/1/2017 and 9/15/2017. Is there a motion on the bill list?
I make a motion to approve the bill list from 9/1 to 9/15.
It's 9/1 and 9/15. It's two
And
separate bills,
9/15,
yeah.
sorry.
Is there a second?
Second.
Poll the council, please.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, with the exception of any and all bills that might pertain to the New Jersey State Police or the Attorney General's office, as that is my employer.
Mr. Cartier?
Yes, with the exception of any bills related to the fire department. Solicitors report.
Nothing to report.
Mayor?
Mr. Council President, I do have a question. Was Resolution 250 added to the consent agenda? Okay.
Yes, it was.
Yes. Yes, it was. Last item on the agenda, on the consent agenda. Mayor?
Yeah, a few updates on where we're at with some of our projects. Well, the Sunbury Village concerns that council has been hearing. I have met with the representative from Jersey Central Power and Light, and we are looking at a lighting plan. We've got some options that were given to us this week, and we will be upgrading the lighting down there. We're just deciding on exactly which lights to put where. We'll probably go to all LEDs in that particular area, and if we choose certain ones, it may be at no cost or less actually, and some may be a slight cost more, but the increase in wattage will be substantial. Some may even double in wattage for what we're using now with the sodium vapor lights down there. Public Works has installed 2 speed tables down there on Norcross between Anderson and Emmons to test to see how it would go putting them in ourselves. They actually did a really good job putting these things in, so we'll be proceeding throughout the rest of the development with the speed tables in that on the Kinsley and Norcross and Lemon.
Mayor, what's the speed table? Is that like a
Speed table is it's a little wider than a speed hump. A speed hump is a little wider than a speed bump. You can't put speed bumps in New Jersey. They're not allowed. DOT doesn't allow that. Speed hump is a little bit wider, so you kind of go, you get the rise, but you come down quicker. A speed table is a little bit wider, so you actually level out when you get on top of it briefly before you start coming down. I would suggest that you compare that, take a ride down Norcross and see what the speed table is that we have in there, and then compare that to, say, the raised walkway, as they like to call it in Pemberton Borough, which is basically a speed hump, but they call it a raised walkway. And that would give you an idea what the difference of the two are. But I think they'll be effective once we install the rest of them throughout the community, or at least where they're at. The space between them, I don't know. Yeah.
How many
Depends on
officers
how
now?
quick their cars get up. I think we're looking at 12 or 13 throughout the community. So, and by doing it through Public Works, substantial savings as opposed to contracting that out. And we'll have those numbers for you at the end of the project. The road crew has finished up on Simontown, and they are moving out to Country Lakes. They've been out there working recently on, I think they're doing Split Rock and Wissahickon first, and then they're moving over to Chippewa, and that's where we're hoping to be this season. As you know, those roads are quite long, and that's going to put us just under the 5-mile mark. So what I'm really suspecting is, because I know these guys want to hit 5 miles this year, I think they're going to try and whiz through these 3 roads and try and hit that 5-mile mark on another road that would have ended up on next year's road program. I'm putting them on a spot here, but it's just my suspicion with these guys, and you know, I think we may be seeing some more out of them, weather permitting. The DPW building should be here tomorrow morning, be delivered tomorrow morning, and then I'd say within a week they should have that up on its foundation. So that's underway. JC's Market, as you know, is down. The Rubble Master is in. They're clearing the property. It will be a grass field by fall. We'll have that all cleared out and be working on negotiating again with Sons Market to acquire that property. The 16 Market Street, the judge did sign an order taking on that property. We were able to acquire that property from the owners, or from the mortgage holders. So we now own that property, and we'll be coming to council for some expenses on that, to asbestos testing, and then we can tear that building down. So that'll bring us to a real close close on that project, which is to clear that lot so we can bring a developer in then to redevelop that property.
Mayor, quick question. Any word on if there was a cleaners on that lot before?
I have checked with probably a dozen very senior members of the community, and no one seems to ever remember a cleaners on that property, dry cleaner. And all have referred me to the dry cleaner that used to be across the street, Little Pine Cleaners, which I recall. But that has not been confirmed. We have not heard anything about a dry cleaner at this point. And real quick on the drug problem, to address that issue with the police department. I can say that and be comfortable in saying that our police officers are working the issue every day. It is a national issue, as was mentioned. It's, I believe, about to be, if not already, declared a crisis by the president. The governor has done it. It's everywhere. But it's also here, and that doesn't mean that we don't address it here in Pemberton. I get reports from the chief. I just recently got one with very nice photos of a large arrest bust that they had made, and they actually seized a substantial amount of drugs, and not just marijuana, heroin and so forth. So the guys are out there doing their job. I don't want to really say that they're short-handed, because what is the number that is needed? We're authorized by ordinance to have 57 officers. If you ask the chief how many officers does he want, if I could give him many officers, he'll tell you 100. But is that what we need? We post on our webpage, and we ask the residents to follow the activities of our officers and all our departments, all our department reports, and you can actually see what is going on each month with each department, including our police, how many tickets they write, how many criminal arrests they write, how many traffic accidents they handle. So you can see everything that's going on, and I guess you can come to your own conclusion as to, you know, how busy we really are. I can tell you from experience that it only takes a second and you're busy for days, weeks. It changes that quick in that business, but it also, there's times where you're not as busy. So we are, as you know, we're trying to bring officers on the department. We have been for quite some time, but we're, as I've expressed here in the past, we're not just going to bring a warm body in to fill a slot. And the chief and I agree on this. We are very selective on who we bring in. We've done very well on the last round. We've brought 9 in, sent them to the academy. 1 had some issues and didn't quite make it through the first couple weeks, so we're down to 8. But the remaining 8 are in the academy doing well, very well actually, from the reports that I'm getting. And we are looking now at the next round of hires, and we'll bring in a substantial amount of officers again on the next round, providing we get the opportunity. And I say the opportunity, it's got to come from a list of civil service applicants that are vetted by the police department. And if we don't get good individuals on that list, by the recommendation of the police department, we don't hire these individuals. And that's been the practice here. We don't want to just bring people on that could be problematic in the future. You know, we want to start off on a good foot so we have a better chance of being successful with who we hire on the department. We're very proud of who we have, and we're selective on that department to make sure it's right. But we'll continue to work on that. And the drug problem in the town, there's always been a drug problem in the town. If there's one person that's using drugs and it's being abused, there's a drug problem. We're not going to solve that problem, but we certainly need to address that problem so that we can provide a better environment for the residents here in the community. And I believe our officers are truly trying to do that on a daily basis, but it's so overwhelming, and the type of drugs that are out there today, and primarily the heroin and the fentanyl, that's where it's really focused on. Years ago it was marijuana, everyone was potheads, and you know, you chased them around, and you know, you brought them into municipal court, you dealt with them, and then the cocaine started coming in. But we really didn't see the cocaine in this area. We went right to crack cocaine because it was cheaper. And I can remember the days when the little glass vials of crack cocaine would come into town, and we'd be catching guys with 500 in a bag of crack cocaine. And it's like, wow, we got a drug epidemic. And it was bad for a while there. Now you don't see the crack cocaine, but you're seeing as much, but you're seeing the heroin. And they're blaming it on everybody, but you know, I don't know. It's an epidemic. Some are saying it starts at the doctor's office. Some are saying it starts at the pharmacist. I know pharmacists that are actually telling people, "Oh, I don't have that drug. You know, we're out," because they don't want to, you know, give opioids out to people when they feel it's, you know, being abused. But you know, how you stop it? You know, I don't know that anybody in this room or in this town are going to solve that or come up with that answer. But we'll continue to do what we can in our authority as the government, and to encourage and support our police officers in being able to do what they can do, which is only going to be limited, you know, because, and I don't want to say resources, it's just, it's so overwhelming in the area. Council President is very well aware. He also runs with the emergency squad, and countless times that he's called out to administer Narcan to people in this community, and and go back to the same person and administer it again because they're, and on the same day, this happens, and then go back when they've overdosed and died. It's that bad of an epidemic. So, we recognize it. We would love to solve that problem. It's not going to happen. My personal opinion, when we go to war against countries, we should be picking a country like Afghanistan to say, we're not coming after your rocks, because that's all they got are rocks, but they got poppy fields. So we're taking your poppy fields. You want to get in our way, then we'll be at war with your people. Well, we're not at war with your people. We're at war with what you're doing to our people. And that's where I think we should be addressing the problem throughout the world, taking care of the problem that is ultimately coming to us and creating a problem in our country. So if it was economics and all those people on Wall Street in Washington were losing all the money they had because of something that was going over in another country, they'd be going to war for that. But when it's killing our family members, and there's not one person in this room or in this town that doesn't know somebody that's affected by this drug problem. You may not know that they have that problem, but I can assure you, I'm very comfortable in saying that everyone knows someone that has a problem or has even died from this problem. So,
I don't know if I'm allowed to speak.
No, at this point you can't. I'm really speaking to council, but
I'm sorry.
I'm addressing,
Exactly right. I apologize.
but I'm addressing issues that, and you're welcome to come into the office, and I can talk to you on the issues further, but at this point it's a council meeting.
On that topic, who owns the property behind the Domino's?
Some of that property is the township, a good portion of it. We've been in there trying to address that, and we'll get
I
back
know
in
that
there.
Public Works went in there and cleared it out.
They went in there and
So you can
cleared
see
a
in
lot
there.
of it out, and our plan is to go in during the fall when it gets a little less brushy and leaves are down, and go in and clear more out and push that back further, and clean that up even
Because
further.
you know what happened? They cleared out the front end. They just moved further back.
Absolutely. At some point, if we keep going, we'll just push them right out of town.
Is that property on the Rossi?
No, not to my knowledge. I don't believe it is. I
Okay.
believe it is.
I have thoughts concerning that property. We'll
We can
discuss.
talk on that
Yep.
also at some point, and that's all I have at this point.
Mr. Gonzalez, anything? Council, anything for administration?
Just real quick, because Dave, you mentioned the paving. I noticed that Catesville Road was paved recently. Are there any plans for that road to be striped anytime soon?
It's not on our list for striping at this point, but we could look at that to be striped. It's a long road and it's rural, so it might not be a bad idea to put stripes on that road.
I think it's needed.
All right, I will talk to Public Works about that.
Anyone else? Council?
Yes, I do. A few things the mayor already answered. I wanted to address Ms. Arlene, but the mayor already made comments on that. I wanted to ask the update on the appraisal for the old Acme area.
It's in process.
We haven't had the...
No, it takes a while. I think they were out there just last week, perhaps last week. Or...
Okay. And this is more for Miss Phillips back there. We have any update on the PL Firehouse for her? She didn't... I know she came late, and I know that's probably one of your questions.
We have come to a consensus on the design between the fire chief, the DPW, and recreation director and administration, and we are scheduling a meeting with the contractor to discuss that further, to see what amenities we might be able to add to it if it's within the budget.
One last thing, you were talking about the humps and, excuse me, not humps, the, what do you
Speed
call them?
tables.
Speed tables. I remember at that meeting when Sunbury was here, someone asked about lowering the speed limit. Was that something we were going to look into? I just remember it when you were just talking about the speed gates.
We can run that by the Traffic Safety Division, ask the chief to have his folks look at that, and the engineers look at that. It's 25 now. I
Right.
don't know that
I think they were looking
DOT
like 15
would
or something.
permit. DOT has standards as to what you
Okay.
can set your levels at for speed, so we would have to obviously conform to their standards.
That's all I have, and thank everyone for their comments and for coming out this evening.
Just one quick question for the mayor. The speed tables, the two that's in place right now, I can't remember which street is a long street. Are they at either end, or is there plans to put some in the middle? Like, you kind of touched on, you don't know how fast it'll build up their speed.
Right.
So are we gonna put one at one end, middle, and then the end?
Well, there's also a DOT standard as to the distance that's between them. I want to say it's somewhere around 410 feet. I'm not positive on that, but I know it's around 400 feet. That has to be between it. You can't put them 200 foot apart. They don't allow that. It's just too aggressive. So we have to conform to the DOT standards, and these are set to those standards. They are on the first left off of Anderson, which is Norcross Lane. When you come in that way, you'll hit one right away, and then there's one down the end of the block at the precise distance that's allowable by DOT, and then we'll start the next phase of that very soon.
All right, that's it for me. Thank everyone for coming out.
Anything?
For council comment, no.
No council comments?
No.
Okay. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Have a safe trip home. Ms. Phillips, can I talk to you after the meeting, please? Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn. Ken.